If I want to change the world, then I should probably learn to love it. Remind myself that justice is what love looks like in public, because the status quo ain't working, so it's time to live above it. If the narrative is broken, it's my job to interrupt it. If I want to change the world, then I should probably start with me, because my actions are just a product of the things that I believe. And my beliefs are just the products of the messages that I received. And if I've learned anything during the pandemic, it's that I can't afford to be naive. Because these days, bias is a transmittable disease, looking to live rent-free, to find itself on every screen possible, trying to teach me that it's not plausible or logical that we can coexist, love, and persist in the land that was said to be indivisible. In fact, certain bodies should be rendered invisible, certain places inaccessible, certain cultures unacceptable, certain races incapable of being intellectual, but I refuse to let pious peoples preach narrow gospels and call them truth. Refuse to let the news tell me who's who based on the hues of their skin. Instead, I choose healing. Choose to unplug from the spin cycle, to find quiet in a world where opinions are louder than actions, choosing alignment, choosing rest, reconciliation, refusing to project broken perceptions and accepting that I can't learn to love them until I learn to love me. Can't take up my cross until I put down my sword. Owning that different doesn't mean danger, and all of us are already worthy of love. I choose to lay down my burdens, to purge this body of internalized racism, imposter syndrome, inferiority, and any evidence of anything other than the imago Dei. Our emancipation is a product of imagination. So I give myself permission to dream about a world that is big enough for all of us, because if I want to change the world, then I should probably learn to love it. Remind myself that justice is what love looks like in public, because the status quo ain't working, so it's time to live above it. If the narrative is broken, it's my job to interrupt it. If I want to change the world, then my activism cannot be headquartered on Twitter. Can't know my thumbs more intricately than it knows my feet. The fruits of my labor can't live in the comment section or rely on black boxes to play evidence for my beliefs. It should show up in the way that I speak, be showcased in the way that I treat each and every soul that comes within my reach. Justice, the destination I seek. Interruption, the method that I teach, and being willing to practice every single word that I preach. Action in tandem with my speech, so there's never a question if a life matters around me when I'm called to lead. I create tables big enough for the experts in need. I leave comfort and convenience in the corner and make margins the centerpiece, honoring that I know the body who came to redeem the least of these, so I release the need to posture and appease, refuse to retreat, not letting my interruption be predicated on praises, privilege, position, comfort, convenience, or relying on convention. I'm focused on forging freedom by sowing good seeds. They say you can tell a man's heart if you pay attention to his deeds. I can only say these words with confidence because I know them from fatigue. Committed to seeing justice if the only person standing for justice is me, because I want to change the world. So I should probably learn to love it. Remind myself that justice is what love looks like in public, because the status quo ain't working, so it's time to live above it. If the narrative is broken, it's my job to interrupt it. If you want to change the world, then you should probably start with you. Thank you all.